What if some of Hollywood's most flawless stars had secrets their co-stars avoided up close? Behind the red carpets and perfect smiles, rumors have lingered for years. Not glamorous, but quietly uncomfortable. Some call it tabloid fiction. Others say there's truth buried beneath the polish. So what's really going on behind the scenes? And why do these stories refuse to disappear? Brad Pitt has long stood as one of Hollywood's most recognizable leading men, known for his striking looks, relaxed charisma, and consistently refined screen presence. But, as with many figures shaped by decades in the spotlight, a quieter and far less polished narrative has followed him just off camera. During the peak of his fame in the late 1990s and early 2000s, stories began circulating about his unusually minimal approach to personal grooming. On fast-paced film sets, where long hours and constant wardrobe changes were the norm, Pitt was rumored to favor quick solutions over traditional routines. One detail that repeatedly surfaced was his supposed use of baby wipes in place of regular showers, framed less as neglect and more as a time-saving habit in demanding conditions. There were also claims that he avoided certain commercial hygiene products, reportedly due to concerns about chemical ingredients. Some accounts even suggested he experimented with natural alternatives like diluted lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. Over time, however, entertainment media amplified these anecdotes, adding layers of speculation about discomfort among colleagues or tension in his personal life. Yet much of this remains unverified, recycled through tabloids rather than confirmed firsthand. Pitt himself has only alluded broadly to preferring a simpler, less product-driven lifestyle. When stripped of exaggeration, the story appears less scandalous and more grounded in personal choice. In many ways, it reflects a subtle resistance to Hollywood's highly manufactured standards, and perhaps explains why such an ordinary habit continues to generate such persistent curiosity. Johnny Depp has always occupied an unusual space in Hollywood, balancing between leading man, eccentric artist, and cultural enigma. Over the years, his reputation has been shaped as much by his unconventional roles and bohemian image as by the stories that circulate about his life away from the camera. One of the most persistent rumors traces back to the production of The Tourist, where tabloids claimed that co-star Angelina Jolie felt uneasy during close scenes due to what was described as his less-than-fresh breath. As often happens in Hollywood, the story evolved with each retelling. Some versions suggested she subtly offered him mints, while others alleged that mouthwash was kept nearby during filming. Despite its widespread circulation, neither Depp nor Jolie has ever confirmed these claims, leaving the story firmly in the realm of speculation. The rumor has endured largely because it aligns with the public's long-standing perception of Depp as an intensely immersive performer, someone more focused on embodying a character than maintaining conventional polish. To some observers, even his rumored disregard for routine grooming seemed consistent with that persona, though such interpretations remain speculative at best. What makes the contrast particularly striking is Depp's simultaneous role as the face of high-end fragrance campaigns, where he represents refinement and allure. This tension between image and rumor highlights a broader truth about celebrity culture. Public perception is often shaped as much by compelling narratives as by verified facts. In Depp's case, the persistence of such stories reflects not proof, but the enduring fascination with a figure who has always seemed just beyond easy understanding. Jennifer Aniston has spent decades representing a carefully balanced version of Hollywood charm. Polished, yet approachable, glamorous without seeming distant. Since her rise to fame on Friends, she has been cast as the quintessential girl next door, admired as much for her natural ease as for her enduring style. That image is exactly why even the smallest rumors about her personal habits have drawn disproportionate attention. Among the more persistent claims is one tied to her well-known love of coffee. Over the years, bits of entertainment gossip have suggested that frequent coffee consumption may have occasionally led to less-than-ideal breath during close filming scenes, allegedly creating minor discomfort for co-stars. Names like Jason Bateman and Alec Baldwin have been loosely associated with these stories, though never through any clear on-record confirmation. In reality, there is no credible evidence that Aniston has ever had any consistent hygiene issue. Like many actors working under long, demanding production schedules, she is known to rely on coffee, a habit that is hardly unusual in the entertainment industry. What is more revealing is how easily such an ordinary detail can be reshaped into something more suggestive. When a public figure appears almost flawlessly curated, even minor imperfections can become exaggerated through repetition. Ultimately, the persistence of this rumor says less about Aniston herself and more about the mechanics of celebrity culture. Her longevity has been built on professionalism and consistency, while the gossip surrounding her reflects a broader tendency to search for flaws beneath even the most carefully maintained public image. Leonardo DiCaprio has spent decades shaping a public image defined by prestige, discipline, and global awareness. Since his breakthrough in Titanic, he has steadily transitioned from a youthful heartthrob into a respected actor and a prominent voice on environmental issues. That commitment to sustainability has not only elevated his reputation, but also sparked a quieter stream of speculation about his personal habits. Over time, various tabloids and anonymous sources have suggested that DiCaprio embraces a highly minimalist lifestyle, including claims that he limits showering to conserve water and avoids conventional deodorants due to concerns about synthetic ingredients. Some versions of the story go further, implying that his environmental principles influence even the most routine aspects of daily life in ways that others might find unusual. Supporters have interpreted these claims as evidence of consistency, arguing that such habits, if true, would reflect a genuine effort to reduce environmental impact. Critics, on the other hand, have framed them as exaggerated or even contradictory, questioning whether private discomfort can reasonably align with a public image that still includes luxury travel and high-profile appearances. In reality, there is no verified evidence confirming the more extreme versions of these claims. DiCaprio himself has not publicly endorsed such details, and most accounts originate from unconfirmed entertainment gossip. Still, the narrative persists because it fits a familiar tension within celebrity culture. When a figure is so carefully associated with purpose and refinement, audiences often become more curious about the possibility of contradiction. In this case, the fascination reveals less about DiCaprio's actual routine and more about the public's desire to find something human beneath a highly constructed image. Julia Roberts has long been regarded as one of Hollywood's most naturally captivating stars, celebrated for her signature smile, warmth, and an elegance that rarely feels forced. Since her breakout role in Pretty Woman, she has come to represent a form of glamour that balances sophistication with a sense of ease. Yet, running parallel to that image is a quieter narrative, one less about scandal and more about her subtle resistance to rigid beauty standards. Over the years, Roberts has spoken openly about limiting unnecessary chemicals and allowing the body to maintain its natural balance. While such comments were relatively measured, they became fertile ground for speculation. Gradually, those remarks were stretched into broader claims, suggesting unconventional grooming habits, with some reports hinting at overly simplistic routines that clashed with expectations of Hollywood polish. However, much of this narrative rests on secondhand accounts and tabloid interpretation rather than verified fact. What is clearly documented is her willingness to step outside conventional norms. A widely circulated moment, when photographs captured her with unshaven underarms at a public event, drew disproportionate attention and sparked debate about femininity and image. For many, that moment became symbolic, not because it was unusual in everyday life, but because it disrupted the carefully maintained illusion of perfection often associated with celebrity culture. In that context, the persistence of later rumors appears less like revelation and more like a reaction to nonconformity. Roberts did not abandon glamour. She redefined it on her own terms. The tension between that independence and public expectation highlights a familiar pattern. When a figure resists the script, even slightly, the narrative around them often becomes amplified, distorted, and far more sensational than reality. Kristen Stewart has never fit comfortably into the version of stardom Hollywood prefers to manufacture. From the moment Twilight turned her into a global name, she projected a cool, detached presence that resisted the industry's polished expectations. Instead of embracing high-gloss glamour, Stewart leaned into a more understated, unconventional style that often felt intentionally raw and unfiltered. That authenticity earned her a loyal following, but it also made her an easy target for speculation. Over the years, various reports have suggested that she favors an extremely low-maintenance approach to grooming, often framed as an extension of her anti-glamour image. As the stories circulated, they became more exaggerated, with tabloids implying infrequent bathing or a disregard for the usual standards associated with red carpet appearances. Still, most of these claims remain unverified. Stewart herself has only spoken in general terms about preferring simplicity and avoiding unnecessary excess. The leap from minimalism to neglect largely reflects interpretation rather than fact. In celebrity culture, personal choices are rarely left neutral. A relaxed attitude toward appearance can quickly be reframed as a flaw, especially when it challenges established expectations. Her highly publicized relationship with Robert Pattinson only intensified that scrutiny, inviting constant speculation about her private life. Ultimately, the narrative surrounding Stewart reveals more about cultural discomfort than personal behavior. In an industry built on image, those who resist conformity are often recast through rumor and exaggeration until perception begins to overshadow reality. Marilyn Monroe remains one of the most enduring symbols of Hollywood glamour, a figure whose image continues to define beauty, sensuality, and star power decades after her passing. Yet, like many icons elevated to near-mythic status, Monroe's legacy has also been shaped by stories that blur the boundary between fact and fabrication. Among the more controversial claims are long-circulating rumors suggesting she avoided deodorant or maintained inconsistent personal hygiene. These stories are often loosely tied to narratives about her fragile health, emotional struggles, and the immense pressure she endured behind the scenes. Despite their persistence, such claims have never been definitively proven. Instead, they have survived largely because they align with a familiar pattern in celebrity culture: the urge to complicate perfection with contradiction. One frequently cited anecdote involves Tony Curtis, who was widely quoted as comparing a kiss with Monroe to kissing Hitler during the filming of Some Like It Hot. Over time, Curtis indicated that the remark had been exaggerated, suggesting it was not intended with the severity later attached to it. What is well established, however, is Monroe's meticulous approach to her public image. She worked closely with photographers, makeup artists, and stylists to craft the illusion of effortless beauty that captivated audiences worldwide. Beneath that carefully constructed exterior was a woman navigating vulnerability, ambition, and constant scrutiny. In that light, many of the more sensational rumors appear less like documented truth and more like attempts to humanize an otherwise untouchable icon. They reflect Hollywood's tendency to both elevate and unravel its stars, often leaving behind narratives that say more about cultural fascination than about the person at the center of it. So, after all the whispers, recycled headlines, and suspiciously dramatic insider claims, what's left isn't just gossip. It's a reminder of the distance between the version of Hollywood we're sold and the reality that quietly exists behind it. The industry has always specialized in perfection, carefully lit, edited, and repeated until it feels real. But the people inside that system were never designed to be flawless, no matter how convincing the illusion becomes. What these stories really expose is something simpler and far less sensational. Every polished image hides routines, habits, and choices that don't always match the fantasy. Sometimes those differences get exaggerated into scandal. Other times, they're just ordinary human details stretched far beyond their importance. Either way, the fascination says more about the audience than the stars themselves. There's a persistent urge to look past perfection, to find something relatable, even if it means believing stories that were never fully confirmed. And that's where Hollywood becomes most revealing. Not in the red carpet moments or carefully managed interviews, but in the tension between image and reality. The myth draws people in, but it's the imperfections, real or imagined, that keep them watching. If this look behind the curtain caught your attention, there's plenty more where it came from. Stories that blur the line between truth and narrative, and a few that might make you question what you thought you already knew.